Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining me today and this financial education series. Today, I wanted to talk about a very interesting topic which we all go through time to time called insurance. Sometimes we take these insurance policy just on a hurry worry, or else we think about these insurances when we have when we have to file our tax returns. You just pick up a phone and ask, oh, hey, you know what, I need to save a little bit of it. Can you just suggest me certain policies or certain investments? And that's how we end up in a wrong investment bucket because we don't do our research before entering into the any kind of investment, be it in insurance, be it in your finances in terms of investing in products which we discussed on a earlier video. So today I wanted to really focus on insurance and what are the steps that you need to do before you're doing any insurances, and what do I think is the most important aspect that you should consider uh, instead of if you have a different opinions. Again, it's my views and based on my experiences, so you apply your logic and see if that really fits into it. But I'll just exactly give you what kind of returns which insurance gave me, pretty much since I linked my insurance value to the investment, and then what can it do to your investments if you link your insurance to the investment. Rather, you could do a different strategy, and that's what we're going to talk about. So let's get into the a little bit of understanding on these insurances. See, there are some insurances which will happen automatically without your influence. Be it your vehicle insurance, be it your car insurance. No one will ask you. They will tell you that this is the insurance you need to pay, period. Or your house insurances before you apply for a loan. So these things, they will not ask you to do it. But there are certain things that which you have an option, like for example, a health insurance, which is pretty much very important for our daily lives. Basically, the amount of medical expenses which is going up in the in our daily lives now, and then thinking about the same thing in the future, it is definitely suggested to have some health insurances for yourself and your family. It's most important thing. But then we don't consider those things are important. But then, for example, if you're buying a vehicle, the scooter, automatically the buyer, I mean the seller who is doing it, he's automatically going to do it because that is required by law, etc., etc. Same thing with the car, same thing with the loans. When they are doing it, and they're giving you to the loans, say 30-40 lakhs, the portion of it, like you're like a builder is putting a car parking charges. It's automatically similar like that. They will put you the insurance cost, like it could be it based on the number of amount you take property. Pretty much anywhere between 1 lakh to 2 lakhs would be your premium, and then lump sum that you pay one time. So see, these are the things they don't ask you because they will do it. But then when it comes to your life, pretty much you can call it a health insurance, and oh, nothing can happen to me. Nothing can happen to you. But then look around you and see, these are the things that you need to take some chances. These are the things that unless until you're ready to pay in the future, whatever things can happen to you or to your family members. I'm not saying that we need to get scared, but then yes, as long as you're healthy, well enough. But then what happens if some unfortunate things happens? And it seemed like wearing a helmet on the road, and people think that nothing can happen to me. I mean, you look at the number of accidents which happens around the world, around your block, around your city, etc., etc. So you will get to know a little bit of it. So everyone thinks that nothing can happen to me. It's a blunder. So that you need to have a little bit of extend your comfort zone in terms of, okay, what could be possibly, and what is the best things that to have it, so that people around you or in your families won't suffer. So that's the important thing. So let's get back to I think I'm talking too much. So let's get back to the point where I started. So insurances. So now what I did back in 2014, again, with the based on so-called professionals. So, and then I said, okay, all these days I have only, at some point of time I started back in 2011, I started having an insurance of 15 lakhs, life insurance, 15 lakhs. So I was paying a premium of 35,000, but then it is linked for investments. It's linked to my returns in the future. Okay. Now there is some bonds, like, there is one like SBI Life Bond Fund. I invested about, say 2 lakhs one-time lump sum amount, and that gave me a 20 lakhs of insurance. And then SBI Life Equity Fund. So I did it's a three years minimum you should pay, and then you can stop basically. So I paid 1 lakh, 1 lakh, and 1 lakh. So 3 lakhs again. That gave me 10 lakhs of insurance. So I have an insurance value of say pretty much 15 lakhs. That is 25 lakhs. That is so 55 lakhs. Now, what 55 lakhs can do you based on your expenses today if some unfortunate thing happened to me, to my families? Basically, if you're looking at the inflation, it does basically nothing, maybe a couple of years based on whatever the expenses you are in. So 50 lakhs at this point of time, insurance is pretty much for me, it's no value. And so considering that if you have a kids, looking at their education, I mean, obviously you don't need to leave entire thing for them and whatever happens, but then, at least, let's stretch about 10 years. So then I'm sure the life will show them a path and where they could lead in the future in case of anything happen to anyone basically. So, but look what happened. So I always connected that insurance with an investment, and that's very wrong in my opinion with the experience I gained. Look at this one. Like for example, 2 lakhs. Okay, now after 5 years is a lock-in period. So after 5 years, I was excited to again, I never stayed long enough in these things. So 5 years is where I stayed. 2014 is where I invested, and 2019, early this year, I closed these two funds. What are the reasons? I thought that's just foolishness basically. So for this a bond, again, this is a debt fund and this is a bond. Basically, they were investing that particular amount. So I gained in 5 years 2,85,000. So that's a purely 85,000 profit. I would say for 5 years, that's very, very, very low. I mean, I would have, the knowledge what I have today, probably if I extend the same thing, same concept, I would definitely get a much bigger returns than what I got. I'm just saying. So, and then SBI Life Equity Fund, again, it's linked to an insurance with your investment. Now, when I closed it, for 3 lakhs, what I paid for 3 years, I got 2,33,000. So that is a minus 67,000 rupees. I'm not talking about now here the people tell you when they get what kind of amount brokerages, what the suggestions the people who get is completely different. And so basically end of the day, for 5 years, for 5 lakhs, I gained 20,000 rupees. Now you apply your logic. This really helped me in any ways, either be it in insurance or be it in investments. So basically that's a wrong strategy of getting inside. Now what can you do? As I said, in my knowledge, with the experience I gained, never mix your insurance to the investment. That is something out of this video I want you to take. And then again, you apply your logic and see how you want to do, what kind of long term you can take it. But then what are the insurances you think is most important? Again, apply your logic and see. See, there is a funds, not the funds, there is a pure term insurance. It's something that is available to all of us, but then it is never discussed too much into it because the premium is pretty much less, but then you don't get any investment. So for example, and that's what I did a little bit of conversion there. Now insurance premium, what I'm paying in the same Max Life, about 20,000 rupees for 1.5 crore insurance. So instead of 50 lakhs insurance, I raised that bar to 1 crore 50 lakhs. Unfortunately, something happens to me, at least my families have something to fall back, pretty much, even irrespective of how the inflation goes or whatever it is. So they have a good 10 years, for them to stand back on their own thing without, affecting whatever was current lifestyle, kids' education, so on and so forth. So if I look at it, if I even say for example, for 20 years, at the rate of 20,000 I pay pretty much between 4 to 5 lakhs. I know that's just basically not going to get anything. But unfortunately, if something happens, my family is going to get about 1.5 crores. That is most important thing, basically. instead of linking your insurances to the investment, I would rather do this completely and then focus on my investment separately, which can give me a better returns than linking all these together. So that is something that I want you to take out of this video. So pure term is always available. So based on how much, again, the risk you can take, how much you think, what your current lifestyle for your families are doing it, and then at least count minimum 10 years to see, and then of course, with the inflation, of course. So I think anywhere roughly about 1 crore to 2 crores is something that insurance, that what you should do. Purely do it, doesn't matter what happens. Even you take that money and then you're pretty much dumping out. So that's fine. Basically based on the age, or whichever the age you're in, probably the premium can go up and down, but anyway it is between yearly about 12, it depends on your age, about 12,000 to 20,000 is what it falls in bracket. You can easily get about 1.5, but then again there is no returns on it, by the way. So you have to compromise on certain things for better things. So unfortunately, if nothing happens, fair enough, just go on. But by the time you're financially secure, probably in 10-15 years, you probably leave enough of wealth, your family don't need to look into that insurances money. And pretty many people look into this kind of policies, if they're financially educated. Now, health insurance is something that I can always suggest based on whichever the city you are in, whichever the lifestyle you're going through. There's something that unpredictable, and then look at number of things happening, the kind of food what we eat, the old ages, number of things happening, and then number of diseases or number of health concerns your family might be going through. And this is always ideal to have some amount of insurance, with the reputed companies where you have a good rate of the claims is suggested for any family members on these two things. So insurance, out of this video, never mix your insurance to the investment. Secondly, try to focus, if you can, do pure term insurances. Thirdly, try to have a health insurance for yourself and your family members. With that note, I would like to leave you today. Be blessed, stay blessed, and invest. And more importantly, what you plan for today, irrespective of what kind of situations you're in, the taking out something for future investments in terms of be it in a health insurance, be it in your the investments for your future, or insurances. As long as you do plan and do your own research and get educated on those terms, and then smartly investing rather than when you have to pay your taxes, calling up the advisor to give me some funds which is doing good, and obviously one fool is going to give another fool what they think is the best. But then you should be on the best judge, calling up and say, what, I need to invest in this fund, this much amount, can you give me, what are the options that I could do, and if there is any options, and then you review by yourself. So that's what education does to you and your finances. Be blessed, stay tuned. If you like this content, please share with your friends and families where they can get educated, and more importantly, you self getting educated. And subscribe this channel if you like it, and to get to more of information of such videos. Stay blessed, stay tuned, and be good to good influence the people around. Thank you.